Alright, so in this video I'm going to share with you and demonstrate and show how we can become more holy and more mature as a person. Now you might be wondering, why am I using this word holy? Well, I'm using it because, number one, it's a bit of a challenge to us collectively on an intellectual level because we're typically very pre-programmed with all of these cultural and religious connotations with the word. But if we actually do 30 seconds to 60 seconds of research and study the etymology and the root of the word, we can understand that it actually means to be whole or in one piece, to be healthy, to be complete, or be entirely put together. Which all of those things sound like they would be pretty good to do because that's kind of the nature of our body, it's the nature of reality. So if we can harmonize with that on a psychological level, it's going to yield harmony, it's going to yield better energy flow, just to put it very simply and mundanely. So on top of that, we're also going to talk about how to become, intellectually mature. So how do we do this? How do we actually become more holy? Well, it's very simple. First and foremost, we need to adapt to and integrate what I call integrative consciousness or true maturity. Now, what does that mean? It means developing the ability to be adept, fluid, and able, and having dexterity with both our left brain and our right brain, with both our logical, reductionist, modern scientific mind, and then our more irrational, intuitive, holistic mind. Whereas one sees separation, one sees relation and integration. Yet, it's easy to pay lip service to this. It's easy for people to talk about it and say, oh yeah, this, that, and I do this, and I do that, and blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it's really common to find one person stuck in one over the other. Because it's very common, people who are really in their left brain tend to kind of look down upon people who are really in their right brain. People who are really in their right brain tend to look really down upon people who are in their left brain. And we can really understand these two poles and these two extremes as the left brain people would be more, quote, structure people, and the right brain people would be more what we call flow people. Now again, just in case it's not already obvious, obviously I'm using pretty big generalizations because no one is 100% in their left brain and no one's 100% in their right brain. But for the sake of conversation, for the sake of being able to discuss this in an easy way, we're having to use these generalizations. So just hopefully you already knew that and it was obvious. But just in case, I wanted to point it out. So flow people versus structure people. Extremes and extreme examples of each, where people who are really more flow people are very prone to being spaced out and ungrounded, or kind of can't function on a day-to-day level, always forgetting things, always late for everything, always just kind of spaced out and out of it. You know what I mean? People who just can't function in the day-to-day world. It's very common in kind of the hippie or new age scene or the yoga scene, or all of these kinds of people who just tend to kind of float off into space, which is what it is. Yet on the other end, there's people who are too rigid, they're too uptight, they're kind of control freaks. Everything has to be in a certain way at a certain time in a certain formula, or else they're going to freak out. People have to behave in a certain way. Things must be a certain way, or else there's all chaos. And these people tend to be very stuck in their head as well. So these are kind of just extreme examples of each polarity. But in reality, to be holy, to be integrated, to be truly healthy, and to be truly mature, we need to kind of drop all of the bias towards one way is better than the other and realize that we need both. Both are valuable, both have a lot of meaning and usefulness in our lives. For example, if we need to repair a broken arm or fix a car, then obviously we need this linear, reductionist, very focused state of consciousness. But if we want to heal deep-seated unconscious traumas that are stored in our body, if we want to work with psychosomatic issues, if we want to be creative, we want to be artistic, we want to be spontaneous, then obviously we're going to need the more flow kind of consciousness. So both have useful applications. If you want your taxes done, you don't go to the stoner on that's you're just sitting there and say, hey dude, do my taxes. No, that's not what you go to. You go to kind of the rigid person who's going to get things done at this day, on this time, in this way, because that's the way it does, because that's the way it's been done, that's the way it works, and that's the way it should be. There's use for that. But if you want to listen to good music, or you want to have some good art, or you want to have just a great, deep kind of nebulous conversation, then that more flowy kind of consciousness is going to be very useful. So we need both if we're going to be truly holy or holistic. That is to say, if we're going to be a truly balanced and mature person. And to really insist on one or the other is just another form of laziness and immaturity and rigidity. So again, just an easy way to sum this up and recap it, and an easy way that's really helpful and that can probably give you a lot more structure and balance for your life, is to understand that flow people need more structure, structure people need more flow. So again, that all ties into the examples that I gave before. And if you know what kind of person you are, if you're more prone to just be kind of, oh, I'll just go with the flow and be spaced out and daydream a lot and just do whatever, then realize that structure is going to be helpful and important and can help balance you out, meaning writing lists, reminding yourself you have to do certain things at a certain time, etc., can be very grounding and very helpful. And can actually even inspire greater, more kind of out there ideas. And then likewise, structure people can go with more flow. I mean, they kind of just relax and let go a little bit more, and that'll invite more creativity and spontaneity and flow and energy and relaxation into their lives, and thus lead to more balance, thus lead to becoming more whole, more holy, more of a holistic, balanced, and mature person. So, if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.